Hey, what's up guys? John here. We are stepping into the hottest real estate market we've ever seen. I've never seen pricing at this level. Bidding wars. People are desperate to get a house. Any good house is selling with 5 and 10 offers, over asking price. People think it's going to last forever. I promise you, it is not. We're going to be stepping into a financial collapse, especially with real estate. When the stimulus ends, the unemployment, all the PPP loans, the forbearance and the eviction moratoriums, all this expire. Eventually, they're going to have to expire. When that does happen, we are going to see pain at a level we've never seen before. Right now, they just extended till the end of June. 16 months. 16 months so far where tenants did not have to pay rent. And that's likely going to continue getting extended and extended and extended. Right now, there's only 1 out of 12,448 homes that are in foreclosure because of the lack of ability that banks have to actually foreclose for not paying right now. So what's going to happen is going to be a pain at a level we've never seen before. You know, reflecting back in 2008, 2009, that market collapse, it was mainly subprime mortgages where people couldn't afford the debt that they took out and they had a lot of bad loans. There's a lot of just bad business happening. But now what we're seeing is a change in consumer confidence with meeting face to face, doing business face to face. I mean, look at this guy. I was in LA today and there was a man working out on an elliptical wearing 2 masks. That says something. That says to me that he's going to be doing his shopping online. He's going to be spending his money online and only going in front of people that he has to be in front of. And I think that that person here speaks volumes for millions of Americans across the entire country. And looking at this data, I mean, it's very, very concerning. So with that being said, if you're thinking of buying real estate, watch this video right now and see if it's the smart move for you, if you should wait. So please smash the like button. Help me share this content. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share the content, and the more people will see it and be educated as to what's really going on. And if you won't smash the like button for me, maybe you'll smash the like button for a puppy in a cup. All jokes aside, please hit that like button. Let's begin. It's fascinating to see how the money is distributed with these stimulus packages. Very little is actually getting to the hands of the mom and pop landlords, the small business owners that have one property that they rent out. And what's happening is all that money is flowing right to the corporations. You look at Invitation Homes, America's largest landlord. They recorded a whopping $50 million bonus just from rent premiums, doing rent increases during the pandemic because people are afraid to move. So they seize the opportunity and hit them with a rent increase. You look at Avalon Bay Communities. They have 80,000 apartments and they are expecting a very large bailout in the recent stimulus package. And they haven't really lost any money. They haven't lost any money really. But you look at the mom and pop landlords, they are forced to sell their properties right now because all of the loopholes that are built into these stimulus packages allow the tenants not to comply and the landlords to basically be hung out to dry. What many people don't realize is that America is comprised of small business. We have 31,500,000 small businesses that support the entire country. We have between 10 and 11 million small mom and pop landlords that own 1 or 2 small rental properties, maybe a house or a duplex. But this is what's fascinating here, is that a federal ban on evictions is putting the squeeze on smaller landlords who are unable to directly access the COVID rental relief funds, and some are starting to sell properties to recoup losses. This will likely reduce the much needed affordable rental stock in an already unaffordable housing market. The reason being is that people that have money right now that are renting are going out there and buying a property and living there. There's no need to rent anymore. So that's what they're doing. They're going out there and absorbing that housing stock. The COVID relief bills out of Congress have earmarked over $50 billion to go towards rent relief, but the requirements vary depending on state and even local jurisdictions. Any application for rental relief must involve both the tenant and the landlord. Tenants must formally declare that they are unable to make payments in order to get the government money, which is then funneled to the landlord. Landlords cannot request a loan in some areas they can help their tenants with the process, but in others they cannot. So if the tenant and the landlord have a bad relationship and the tenant really just wants to drag the landlord through the mud to maybe make up for something they felt like the landlord did wrong to them in the past, this could cause a huge problem for that landlord. So it really depends on the relationship between the tenant and the landlord. And for new landlords out there, look at what's happening to some of these landlords. Look at Marilyn Blackburn, a landlord, Washington State, landlord for 20 years, has decided to sell all 9 of her rental properties as soon as she can. It's been 6 months with these tenants we've lost. I think about 12 grand in just rents. And you know, they don't allow us to collect late fees either. So a couple $1,000s extra. And again, you still have to keep paying the mortgage every single month. Blackburn said that tenants who are not paying or refusing to respond, if they don't file the paperwork for the relief, she gets nothing. So that's just like I said. If they don't comply and try to help you get that rental relief, then you get nothing and you get stuck with that huge bill. And it's just frustrating, you know. People are living in my house, taking advantage of me, and there's nothing I can do about it. What's interesting is Invitation Homes, which I mentioned earlier. They are the largest landlord. They started that company through Blackstone in 2008, right when the market crashed. That's when they started. They bought all these properties for 30 cents on the dollar, made billions and billions of dollars. But what's interesting is now they're capitalizing with rent premiums. They're getting bailed out by Big Brother. And now small mom and pop landlords are getting killed. What is going to happen? Ultimately, I can promise you, they're going to roll out there again and double down on their initial first bet and buy homes by the tens of thousands. More than half of the rental stock in the nation is owned by smaller landlords, and more than half of those landlords have tenants who have missed payments during the pandemic, according to a new survey from NRHC. Of those, more than 1/3 said that they have had to dip into their personal savings or take out a loan to make payments for mortgages and maintenance on their properties. They still have to maintain these properties. It's not like they can just let the tenant stay and pay the mortgage. No, they still have to make all of their maintenance requests. They have to comply with all housing regulations. And what's happening in New York is what's happening in California and seems to be happening everywhere. States struggle to get rent relief to tenants amid the pandemic. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced last July that New York would spend $100 million in federal coronavirus relief to help cash-strapped tenants pay months of back rent and avert evictions. By the end of October, the state had doled out only $40 million, reaching 15,000 of nearly 100,000 people looking for help. So 15,000 people got help out of 100,000, meaning 85% of people got rejected. More than 57,000 applicants were denied because of criteria set by lawmakers that many said was difficult to meet. Now we look at New York. You have AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Governor Cuomo offering some type of buyout fund to help small landlords and essentially buy their properties for pennies on the dollar. Look at Gavin Newsom in California with SB 1079. This is set up for California to buy properties also for pennies on the dollar. So these systems, this structure is not for the small mom and pop landlord. So when you see these advertisements for small business, support your small business, they're not supporting the small business. They don't care about small business. At least that's how it's structured. That's where the money's flowing. The money's flowing to big business, not to the little mom and pop landlord. We are witnessing the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. I'm not one to make predictions, but I'm going to make one right now in this video. I personally don't think the eviction moratorium is going to expire at the end of June. I think they're going to continue kicking the can down the road at least until the end of the year, probably longer, probably a year from now. This is where I see things going. And that's why I'm very hesitant with real estate right now. With the forbearances and the eviction moratoriums, all this stuff happening, people don't have to pay their bills. So when you go put all of your money on the table, you sign in the loan docs for $1 million plus loan, or even if it's a couple $100,000, if you put your name on the line and then people don't have to pay you, that makes things scary. It makes things questionable. So with that being said, if you don't have deep, deep pockets where you can weather a storm for a couple years, then does it make sense to pull the trigger? Or does it make sense to find out all the answers to what's happening right now. It's really hard to win the game if you don't know the rules to the game. And right now, the rules are being made up before us. So with that being said, I think now is the time to study, to learn your market. If you're going to invest in real estate, learn, build out a game plan. I wouldn't execute just yet unless the deal is amazing. If you find an incredible deal, go ahead and buy it. But I'd be careful. I'd be really careful right now because things are looking very interesting. So with that being said, I would learn about real estate, study real estate, build out that game plan, but I'd also be looking at ways that you can make money online. If you want to learn how to get into YouTube, building out a YouTube channel, I have a link in my description below. But I personally think real estate is going to be the best generational wealth builder for those that are looking to build out that great, just passive income you could pass from generation to generation. But again, learn before you try to earn. Please smash that like button, drop your comments below. Really curious, what do you guys think about what's happening right now? And consider subscribing for more content based on personal finance, real estate, business, and money. All right, guys, see you in the next video.